Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing, well, a double unboxing. I got a couple of packages here from a really good friend of the show and pretty much a family member in my opinion. Tim, he's done a lot for me in the past, but he was reducing his collection of some items and he sent me these two boxes here. Let's see what we have right after this.
Game on.
Okay, so we have two boxes here. I'm going to start with, I guess the right one. Or it's actually my left one. Your right, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to start with this one right over here. And I got my blade here. And let's see what's in this. And these are two rather large boxes. So let's see what we have in here. If I can get this really dull X-Acto blade to, here we go, to actually cut some things. There we go. We'll go over here as well. Come down the middle here. Alright, the first box is opened. Let's see what we have inside this bad boy here. Okay, well, we have very good packing material. Oh, there's something in this pack too. Let's get this packing material out of the way. And there's something in this here, I think? There is. Let's go see what's in this package here. Okay, it looks like, well, it looks like an interface of some kind. We'll get some closer shots of this later. It looks like an interface cable over here. And we have a nice, look at this. 57 practical programs and games in BASIC for the TRS-80 Model 1 computer. So we have that book right here as well. We have an owner's manual for a TRS-80. Truth be told, one of my first real jobs, man, I was working since 12, but when I was old enough to drive, I actually did work in a Radio Shack, but that was during the color computer Tandy 1000 era, not during these original TRS-80 level 1 era. So I'm going to put that over here as well. We have a TRS-80 graphics by Don Eisman, another good book here from Radio Shack. And the book's looking in pretty good shape. So I'm going to put this book over here as well. We have a level 2 basic. So I think we have something TRS-80 related here. But we also do have a boxed Texas Instruments TI-994A microsurgeon. Now what's kind of cool about this game here is it was by Magic, first of all, and this does support the speech synthesizer on the TI-994A. So that's kind of cool. Nice box, got the manual and everything in there. But we're not done. There's more cardboard here. There's more things still below. And we're still in the first box. Okay, now this was definitely one of my holy grails. This is one of my holy grails. The other one is the Entex Adventure Vision. Now I kind of made one. I'll have a video. I'll put a link up there for that video that I kind of made one, sort of. But this is definitely one I've always wanted. When this came out in 1977, it was the Holy Trinity. You had the Apple II, the TRS-80 computer. It was just called the TRS-80 at that time. And you had the Commodore PET. Those were the Trinity that first came out. And I played this in school. I was 8 years old at the time. And I can't believe he wanted to downsize this. But that's what we have right here. And this thing here, let's get this tape open. Wow. An actual TRS-80, which is now called the Model 1. But when this first came out in 77, this was just called the TRS-80. And, you know, it was, from one standpoint, primitive. But on the other standpoint, it still was doing amazing, amazing things. We'll get another closer look at this a little bit later as well. We still have more in this box. I haven't gotten to that box yet. So it's, we have, looks like some cables, probably some printer cables or cassette drive, because back in those days you used the cassettes. Floppy disks came out later, but you started pretty much using cassettes. And it looks like we have the power brick for it as well. Oh, this is a Texas Instruments power brick. This is a TI-994A power brick here. So it's not for the TRS-80 computer. Make sure it doesn't fall. There's something else here. Ooh, we have a Radio Shack TRS-80 cassette recorder. Look at that bad boy. And it looks like it also ran on batteries. It did. So it either took batteries But yeah, this is how you would have loaded. I mean, you could definitely use your own cassette drive back in the day, But you know, they always sold things and you want to hear a magic thing. And this thing is heavy, holy cow. It's even got a handle. This thing is heavy. So we'll take a closer look at that as well and put it to the side just for the moment. And I'm still not done in this box. So let's see what else we got down in here. We have a lot of packaging material. So it looks like that we shipped really well. Oh, here we go. Here is a power break that's attached to something here. I think this is what they call this. It's like their sidecar. So I'm going to put this down and take the wrapping up here. I don't want to break anything getting it out. Just tear this wrapped very, very well. Wow. Now we have to get this thing broke somehow. I got my X-Acto knife. I'm going crazy. I got my X-Acto knife right here. Just trying to be careful not to damage anything. There we go. So here is our heavy power brick, and we have our basically our sidecar. So what this was really used for, it was an expansion bay. So it looks like the monitor does fit on top of this, and you would connect it probably to that cable over there, and something loose in there. We'll have to take a look, see what's in there. Something's loose, but hopefully this all works. And it's just basically a way you can add disk drives and other items to the TRS-80 model. Well, now it's called Model 1 at this point. We'll put this aside as well. Get it over here. And let's see what else we got in here, because there's still more in this one box. Okay, we have the old Texas Instruments TI-994A RF switch box. This thing's a beast. When you got an Atari 2600, yeah, the box was maybe about half the size of this. But TI, man, they went crazy. Now, TI, I will say, back in the day when they built their computer, the TI-994 and the 4A in 78 and 79, it was the first 16-bit home computer in the market. And they didn't skimp on it, which is kind of why they lost the computer war, because they didn't cheap out on the components. Everything was top quality with the TI. And I've said many times before, if you like the ColecoVision and the Sega Master System, all that technology kind of came from TI chips, and the 4A was the grandfather of all of them. So let's put this down aside for a second. And wait, there's still more we have in here. It looks like a little plastic cover for something. I'm not quite sure what that is. Maybe that broke up in transit. I don't know. But oh, it looks like it's the back for the RF for the TI thing. It's not a big deal. Those are a dime a dozen. Dime a dozen. If that's the only thing that broke in transit, it looks like it is. That is not a big deal. Everything else looks really good. There's more wrapping here. And I think this is going to be a TI-994A, and this will get this box. I think this box will be done. So I'm going to take this box and toss it aside for a second. So yeah, this does look like a TI-994A. Now, I do actually own a few of these. This was my first computer back in the day. But of course, bad power supply kind of, I think, killed that motherboard. It worked for a few minutes and it locks up. But this looks like another TI-994A. Let's take a look here. And it is, oh, the keyboard took a hit, but that's okay. I think I could probably fix these, maybe. Looks like it just popped off. Some keys popped off here, so that's not too bad. But other than that, it looks like it came okay. And again, this was the world's first 16-bit computer. It had stainless steel for the top, which is kind of cool. It's just a nice looking computer. It really is. It did have a lot of quirks though. Mostly that 16-bit CPU they put in here was put in an 8-bit architecture, which is, I'll do a video on, I think I already did a video on that, my TI, explaining all that out. But in any case, these look like they just popped off. I can probably pop them back on, just need a cleaning. But all that was still in the very first box. I'm going to take this and put this aside as well. And we'll move this to the side as well. You go in there. Goodbye. So let me get these things off this box so we can take a look on the side of this one. Okay, let's see what's in this one. Move it to the center here. Oh, that's good. Let's try this good old X-Acto knife once again. Let's take a look here. And cut this out as well. He did a very good job taping and packaging, that's for sure. Time to invest in a couple of new X-Acto knives, I think. There we go. Let's turn this thing around here. Keep hitting my microphone. Alright, so I'm going to guess this is the box the monitor is in for the TRS-80 or TRS-80 Model 1. And again, we put a lot of packing material in here. And let's see if this thing survives, because it is a CRT. And you know, CRTs don't like being roughed around a lot. So it looks like we have this is the power supply for that TRS-80. So I'll put this over here somewhere. Bubble wrap, bubble wrap. Work for auto bubble wrap. There we go. Put the bubble wrap over there. And we have another power supply. There we go. It's just amazing when you look at these things now. We're talking stuff that came out in 1977, now in 2025, and these old machines still work. I mean, you need some TLC, a little fixing here and there, but it looks like this is it for the CRTs in here. So be super careful, I think. Move this down here. I think that's it for this box. So the box, a little worse for wear, but it looks like it did its job by protecting everything. And inside this bubble wrap is a CRT for that TRS-80. So let me get this thing opened up here very carefully. And just try to picture yourself, you know, if you're a kid in 1977 and Christmas or whatever, and you find a computer, any kind of computer. It's just because today computers come in watches, they come in everything, Raspberry Pis, GRS Vipers. But back then, this was a very new thing. It was uncharted territory and very expensive. Even though this was one of the Apple II, the PET, and the TRS-80. The TRS-80 was the most inexpensive and probably the simplest in design, but it got a lot of people into computers, and a lot of people sure used it. Okay, it looks like we have a cover for it, so I'm just trying to get this over here without trying to scratch this thing in any way, shape, or form. Oh boy. Again, this is something I've wanted forever, and it looks like he did a fantastic job getting this thing protected. Tape is really holding in there pretty good. I think I can slip this in, maybe. There we go. Let's get this out of the way. And here we have, even got the cover. But did it survive? I haven't looked at the CRT yet. It looks like it did. So that's pretty cool. Oh, it did take a pounding back here. Hopefully it still works. The CRT looks like the whole back is off. It looks like maybe the screw got damaged in there, so we'll get a shot of that, but hopefully it survived. So let me try and get you some visuals of what I have here. Okay, so first up we have this TI-994A. It looks like I'm not sure if it happened in shipping. These keys had come off, but they usually just pop right on, so I'm not too concerned about that. But the machine itself looks in pretty good shape, especially the stainless steel. This stuff gets scratched a lot, and I think mine as a kid, I got some scratches on it, and there's no way to get the scratches out. But it's a pretty good looking unit. We have our LED for power, and our power switch is right here. We have our cartridge port here for putting in command, they call them command modules. Obviously we have our keyboard right here, which was an improvement over the originals that was a chiclet keyboard. And this is a later TI. It's not, they did a gray one, a low cost one. This is before that gray one, because this has this like slot. You put overlays here on this, and the original one I have, they actually had to put a bridge glued in because it was an early model. So this is definitely a later model than mine, but still the world's first 16-bit computer in the market, the TI-994A. And the A was really an improvement to the graphic chip and this keyboard over the 4, which had a slightly less capable graphics chip. Only, I think, uppercase characters, no lowercase. Although the lowercase here were just uppercase looking small. and that's pretty much it. So we have some extra keys here. We have this huge TV selector for watching television and then going to playing the computer. And this is the only thing that broke on this one, which is just a back cover to this little 75 ohm adapter for this here, which is not a big deal. And we have a still boxed micro SIM by Magic, which did use, if you had the speech synthesizer module, you had some speech. If not, you can still play the game. And let's take a look at the side over here. They have one joystick port. The joysticks use that like a Y connector, like Atari paddles. There was a lot of resistors in there that made it work. They did make adapters to make like Atari joysticks work, but if not, you had to use the TI ones. Let me tell you, the TI ones were horrible. I had the original version, which were bad, and they didn't get any better with the second version. And then on the back here, we have our monitor out, another DIN connector for our monitor. We have our power, which used a really weird connector. If you notice, the ColecoVision used that same type of connector. That's because aside from the CPU being changed out, it's the same memory, same sound chip, same graphics chips between the TI 994A and the ColecoVision, which shows you how powerful this computer was back in 1978 and 1979. Now, this other Atari connector is not for a joystick. This is actually how you plugged in your cassette drive. So that's for your cassette. And then on this side over here, we have our expansion connector. So you would connect your speech synthesizer, expansion box, or other peripherals would connect to that connector. And I'm not sure if there's a serial number on the bottom here. Let's take a quick look and see if there is a serial number. There is one, but it's really hard to see. But it's definitely not an earlier model. So let's see what else we got from Tim. And again, this is really cool for him to send this. Oh, I got this thing working. These will pop back on. I'm not too concerned. And just needs to clean up, and we'll fire this up another time. But let's see what else we got. Okay, this is definitely one of my holy grail machines. I can't believe I actually have this now, and I can't thank Tim enough for sending me this, because, again, it's something I've looked for a long time. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on them, but it's definitely something I wanted to add to my collection, and this is definitely, for me, a holy grail. It's one of the Trinity. 1977, you had your Apple II, you had your Commodore PET, and you had this, the TRS-80. It wasn't called the Model 1 yet. It was just called the TRS-80. And he sent me all these things he had with it here. And it looks like they survived. There's some maybe damage to the back of the monitor, but we'll take a look at that in a second. But the CRT looks good, which is the important part. So this is the computer right here, the memory, the I/O, everything's inside here. Now, originally this was released in '77. It was only having a 4K. So this one looks like it's definitely been upgraded. It does say 16K Level 2 Basic. So this originally came with Level 1 Basic, a very rudimentary Basic. The Level 2 is obviously an improvement on that. We have a keyboard right here, and everyone's keyboard is a little bit different, but they feel fairly good. But I understand sometimes you start getting what they call like you press F, you make it a 2S, so the key may need to be cleaned. We have our power button here, and this is one of the indicators it's an early unit. This badge right here, it just says Radio Shack TRS-80 microcomputer. Once these started becoming more Model 1, I should say, you start having a numeric keypad here. There's no numeric keypad, and that's a telltale sign this is an early unit. So we'll take a look at the serial number in a second. And we can see when we turn this thing over a little bit, we see our expansion connector right here, and this connector was used for a multitude of things, but in this particular case I have this expansion bay here, and this looks like a newly designed interface for that. It says 2 CPU here and then 2 expansion. So we'd basically plug in these two like that. Because if you didn't have disk drives or anything like that, when you're typing these programs, you had to save them. Or if you want to load programs, you had to load them from cassette. And that's what we have here. We have the cassette cable here. You can see that right there. And this is an original Radio Shack TRS-80 cassette. Now, there's nothing special about it. It's just a regular cassette drive. You can use any cassette drive. But this one here just feels, it's massively heavy. I mean, this thing really is heavy. And you can tell this was built in the 70s because it's so damn heavy. But it's just a regular cassette player. So you can use this, obviously, or any cassette player, or even a cell phone with WAV files. It doesn't know the difference. As long as it hears the right tones, it would load the games in. And obviously the volume has to be right and the tone has to be right. So it's sometimes better to use one that was designed for it. But it's definitely not required. Any cassette player should work. And then let's take a look at the back of this here. We looked at the expansion connector here, and then you see there's 3 DINs back here. And one of the issues people had with this was this one may have been labeled, it may have been, but it's not now. We have our power button here, and one of these is for your power, and the other one's for cassette, and the other one's like an expansion one. And they're not marked, so you can obviously put the power in the wrong one and blow this thing up. So I'll have to make sure that I check and put little labels on here to know which one that they are. But that's one of the things people had issues with, that they didn't make it any different for power versus the other connectors. So let's see if the serial numbers on the bottom here, we'll take a look and see how early in the unit this is. You can see right here TRS-80, and it says serial number 8557. So this is a fairly early unit, one of the under 10,000. This is under 9,000. So this is definitely an early unit, a Model 1, which is even more to me a holy grail for myself, because numeric keypads are nice, but I wanted the very first one, like the Atari. I wanted the always have the Sunnyvale, the Heavy Sixer. I don't care about the other ones. I want the original, and that's what this one is right here. And then we have this guy right here, which is an expansion bay. And this expansion bay can be used for lots of different things. It can house like disk drive controllers. So I'm not really sure what's in this one. I'll have to research it, but this is definitely here. And you can see they designed their monitor, and I do believe this is just an RCA television with a tuner taken out of it, a black and white RCA TV, no less. And it connects, oh, that's probably what this one is, I'm sorry. So one is going to be your monitor port, one is going to be your power port, and one is going to be like your cassette. So I got to take that back. See, sometimes I should research things before I do it, because this does connect through a DIN connector. And everything here looks a little smushed, but definitely repairable. So again, I'm assuming this works. I don't know if it works, but the monitor, would take a look at the back. It looks like it did take a hit in shipping, but not too bad. The CRT itself looks like it survived the trip. And in addition to that, he included these nice manuals here. This is the 57 practical programs and games in BASIC, which is really cool, and it looks like it's in really good shape. And then we have what came with the machine originally, which was level 1 BASIC, and that was the 4K version. You can see there's a cassette drive. You have here the monitor. This base didn't exist back then. And then your computer system, and it got upgraded at some point to the level 2. What you would do is you would take your machine to Radio Shack, and you tell them I want to upgrade the memory or upgrade the BASIC or such. They would take the machine, would ship it off to probably Texas. They'd do the work, and it would come back, and you'd pick it up at Radio Shack, and you'd have your new machine with new memory and so forth. And then you have the TRS-80 graphics. Now again, the TRS-80 never had like graphic modes. It's really just the ANSI characters, and you can sometimes rework them, and there's probably some symbols, graphic symbols you can poke and make them come out. But that's the machine as a whole. So let's just take a look. The only thing I've seen on this one, aside from maybe this TV connector being a little smashed, you can see it right here. I don't know if this was from shipping or if the machine this was like this beforehand. There is tape on it. So this tape is probably holding this on. So it looks like it did take a hit somewhere, and the box did have no dents, but there was a tear in the box. So I don't know, if I go over this way here, let me take a look. You can see it is a screw in here. You can kind of see that screw. There's a screw in there, but it's separated. So I don't know if that broke off. I'll have to open the back and see if I can repair it, maybe some glue or something like that. But that definitely should not be that way, but it could be fixable. And hopefully the monitor still works and nothing happened to the CRT on the inside. But outside, like, see, look, they should have there used to be an antenna on here. It would come out of here and it would clip in here. This was just a regular RCA TV set at some point. And I'm not sure, is there a serial number on the back? There is. It was May 1978 when this thing was made. So that's really cool, and I can't thank Tim enough for sending this one out. I mean, that is just beautiful. It just needs a good cleaning, and then before I try and fire it up, I got to make sure the TV looks okay. And I'll do another video with firing it up and trying to take a look at maybe something on it. But that is incredible. And if we did like things like this, first of all, I appreciate you guys watching the video. And if you did like it, give it a good thumbs up. It only takes 1 second for you, but it does mean a lot to me. And I don't get too many donations, so I really appreciate things, especially like this. This was not a small deal. This was expensive to even ship, and he wouldn't take any money, and I really appreciate Tim for sending this one over. But if you do like videos like this, give it a thumbs up. Let me know it's something you guys want to see more of. And just remember, no matter what you do, no matter how fun this stuff is, and this stuff to me is really fun, it doesn't take precedence over family and friends. So make sure you always tell family and friends you love them, because tomorrow's never promised. But in between those times, well, take out your old machine and show it some love too, and then you can game on.